Hi West Babylon and happy ThursD.I.Y. On this lovely Thursday, we are going to be making a upcycled CD mosaic using old CDs. For this project, you do need a wood board of some sort. It can be flat. This one happens to just have the lip so you can hang it easily. You need paint. I'm using a teal paint and a sponge brush. You also need your handy dandy red Solo cup of water, paper towels, Elmer's glue, a pen if you want to draw out your design prior to putting your mosaic on, and scissors. So the first thing we're going to do is take our teal paint, and now I'm trying to save the planet, save some paper, save some trees, and instead of using a paper plate as I normally would, I'm just going to put a little bit of paint on the wood, directly on the wood, because we're only using one color. Okay. So there we go, we have our paint on our canvas, and I'm going to take my sponge brush and I'm going to coat my entire piece of wood in this teal paint. So while I'm doing this, I will explain the project a little bit more. So many of us have been cleaning our homes, and we have a lot of things that we're getting rid of. Now in this day and age, music is so much easier to get through online resources. I know the library offers music through Freegal. And for that reason, many of us don't use CDs the way we used to. We get rid of them. So for that purpose, I decided to make a project that we could use those and get a second life out of our old CDs. Now, as I paint, I am painting in one direction as I usually do. And wood absorbs the paint different than a canvas would. So it will dry a little quicker. But you also see the brush strokes a little bit more on wood than you would on canvas. So I'm gently just going over the entire top of my canvas, the wood canvas. Okay, so now on the outsides, I still want to paint them, but I don't want to waste my paint. So what I'm going to do is just dip my brush in water, and what the water is going to do is make a stain-like quality. And for this, we don't need full coverage, so we just brush with our water and whatever's residually left on our brush. Okay, then I'm going to turn it, dab a tiny little bit more water on. It's kind of like using watercolor paint. Okay, and I like to fully cover everything. Okay, switch my side again, dab a little tiny bit more water on. If you run low, you can see the sponge brush kind of holds some of the paint on the top portion of it. So I could just use that. Okay. And then I'm just going to do it on this side as well. Looks like I need a tiny little bit more water. Okay, almost there. Let me see. All right. So now the entire thing has been covered. So I no longer need my sponge brush, and I'm going to gently place my wood down on my paper towels. Okay, so the whole thing's covered. So now here's the fun part. I'm just going to move this to the side for a moment, and I'm going to cut my CDs. So you could see here, I already have some that I've cut. So I'm using just basic CDs. They do take a lot of pressure to cut, so if you have stronger scissors, that's great. I'm using kitchen scissors, and these aren't as they work, but they're not as good as heavy-duty craft scissors. Unfortunately, we are limited to what we have in the home, so I'm using my kitchen scissors. And what I do is I'm cutting my CDs into different directions, and sometimes it doesn't want to cut from one side, so I cut it from both. And I just pull it apart, and now we have these beautiful, beautiful little pieces of CD. They're very reflective. Now for this design, I actually decided that I was going to use the other side of my CD as well to create this teal wave. You can do that, or you can just do simple silver pieces of CD all over. It's up to you. So I do cut out this middle piece here when I'm cutting my CD, and you do want different size pieces to get your mosaic effect. So then once I'm done cutting all my pieces, before I do anything else, I lay them in the design I want them. And I try to keep as much space between each piece all around. So if I have this much space between these two pieces, I want to keep that consistent throughout my entire project. And you can do bigger pieces, you can do smaller pieces. It's really up to you. All right, so let's see. You can get some triangles in there, triangular shapes, vary it up a little bit. Okay, and I do that for the entire canvas. Now with my wave design, I put my wave in first, and then I put my silver around it, but it really just depends on what works for you. And you can see they're all irregular shapes, and none of them are perfect. And that's the beauty of this, is that a CD is round, and we're taking a round object and we're turning it into this beautiful work of art. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at this. I'm not going to do the whole canvas for the sake of time, but you can see how I laid it out prior to doing anything with it. Then what I'm going to do is lift each piece carefully and put a little bit of Elmer's glue underneath and just gently slide or place my piece back down. And I'm going to do this for each one. So I put a little dollop of glue and I pop the piece back on. Okay. We're going to do that for each piece. It does get a little bit hard to lift them off because they're such thin pieces of plastic. And what I love about it is that the foil on the CD does kind of break off a little bit at the edges, and it gives it this cool vintage mirror look. Okay. And I just continue to do this around the entire thing. Okay. Let me just see. All right. So we're almost there. These pieces don't want to come up on me. Okay. Generally, you should have your paint a little drier before doing this, and I think that's part of it. It's the paint is coming off and the foil sticking. So you can see the effect that I'm going for. It's there. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but once you're all done, you will end up with a finished piece, and you could see I did go to the edges of the canvas. And there you go. There you have it. Happy ThursD.I.Y. I hope you enjoyed crafting with me, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.